shit, sorry, is this Joker? Well, I hope you don't mind if I take some stuff. Can I keep these? Well, this apocalypse sure is something, and I think that all this just came from one bad video game. Wait, you don't remember, do you? I don't fault you. Looks like you took a pretty bad hit to the head. Sorry. Well, the TLDR said just about a year ago, a game came out that was so bad, so boring that everyone just died of boredom. Well, I mean, that and some guy in Russia ate a 3-week-old Subway sandwich that was infested by a... Oh, fuck. I gotta make it back to home camp. Yeah, you have a good one. Can I keep these sunglasses? I hope you don't mind, I take them. Should I close the door? You have a good one. See ya.
Hi. So, today we talk about a game with a rocky development history to say the very least. A game that followed every step along its production but never actually played once. And most importantly, a game that lied to everyone, scammed a bunch of people, and just ended in the most chaotic way you can imagine. Strap yourself in, folks, because this is gonna be a wild one. But there's a lot to cover, so to paint the whole picture, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning of the story. Starting with the... It all started on January 29th, 2021, when a gameplay trailer for a post-apocalyptic video game by the name The Day Before dropped out of nowhere on IGN's YouTube channel. It showed two players exploring a post-apocalyptic version of New York during wintertime. There was PvP combat, looting, zombies, painfully staged voice acting.
Alright, I have found a great cowboy hat. Tell her everything's alright. And there aren't any more guns in the valley.
And on top of all that, the game looked breathtaking for a supposed gameplay trailer. For a first look into a whole new IP, that trailer left a really strong impression with people. And I mean, that's fair. This trailer really painted the picture of an immersive, atmospheric, and at parts downright scary experience. But it also reminded me of something else. I just can't quite put my finger on what it was. Oh yeah, that's what it was. To say that this game took some stylistic inspiration from The Division would be a downright understatement. I mean, sure, it might not have the same hot elements of futuristic gadgets, but everything else on the over-the-shoulder camera to the destroyed version of New York City just screams The Division with zombies. But I mean, that by itself is fine. I mean, profiting off other people's ideas is never really the coolest move to pull, but you know, maybe there's something cool to add to it. Some cool twist or something. So for now, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. One thing that isn't quite as easy to ignore, however, are the game's developers themselves. FNTASTIC was the studio working behind The Day Before. Notice how I said it was? Well, that's the little thing we like to call foreshadowing. And I mean, seeing that the upcoming game was this large in scale, you would probably assume they have a backlog of multiple high-quality, big-budget games, right? Some real GTA and Witcher type shit. They made 3 games. 3. The top-down survival game? Okay. A short adventure game? I mean, alright. And a co-op PvE horror shooter? Which they took down 18 months after it came out. But I mean, maybe the publisher Mytona has more games in their library. What the fuck do you think? All this really didn't put a lot of trust into The Day Before, which led to pretty much everyone unanimously agreeing that this game either isn't what the trailer makes it out to be, or just straight up doesn't exist. I don't think I've ever seen a game get that strong of a by pretty much everyone. But I mean, that's just the first trailer. That means they have way more opportunities to show us that this is a game worth caring about, and more time to build out some. And they didn't even wait all too much longer before they gave us more information on the game. Not even a month actually. Because in late February, we already got the next trailer to the game. It showed looting, combat, apparently a drivable tank.
Hey, motherfucker!
Okay. And again, graphically speaking and sound design wise, this game looked incredibly quality. This could have easily been a AAA game by one of the big companies going by the trailer alone. But almost more importantly, this trailer was the first time we actually saw the two founders of FNTASTIC, Edward and Eisen Gotovtsev, who, for the sake of this video, I will just call the Gotovtsev brothers. But remember their faces, because these two would be very important. No, don't look at the dog. Look at them. Look at them. One thing they did say, however, is that the day before is gonna be a quote-unquote real breakthrough for the MMO survival genre. And going by how impressive the trailers looked so far, that definitely got some people's expectations up by a decent bit. A couple of weeks after that, we got a short trailer showcasing off-road driving, which looked pretty good. And then in April, we got the big one. 10 minutes of unedited gameplay. It showed two players driving off-road through the forest, looting an abandoned gas station, exploring a creepy farmhouse, killing some zombies, and then escaping from hostile players into a mysterious underground bunker. And as you would expect, just like the last trailer, this one also looked great. And notice we haven't seen the city once this whole trailer, even though they drove around in cars for most of it. If that is anything to go by, the map is gonna be huge in this game. Also, this trailer got more than 1 million views in a single day. So needless to say, man, I really can't wait to see more news about this game. And I mean, going by off we got trailers before, that really shouldn't take too long, right? Everything will be... So yeah, we didn't really get any updates on the game for like 6 months. By itself, not a weird thing, but going by the frequency at which we saw gameplay before, I would have assumed that the game was borderline finished by now. But all the waiting came to an end on November 15th in a new video by FNTASTIC. The video starts off with the Gutsov brothers talking about their passion for the gaming industry and how happy they are to be making their dream game and... Why is he looking at me like that? Why is he just staring at me? Edward, please stop. Stop it, Eddie. Stop. Edward, stop. Stop it. They then went on to show some new the day before gameplay. They showed the city, customizable housing, a big mall, weapon modding, and a hub world, which is exclusively filled with male characters. So, sorry ladies, this one's for the boys, no girls allowed. Most importantly though, they announced a release date for the game, June 21st, 2022. That is relatively soon. I'm sure they won't push it back. But that wasn't the only thing they announced in this video. They also announced another game by the name of Prop Night, an asymmetric horror game where players can disguise themselves as objects to hide from the killer. And it looked... decent. From what I heard, it was an alright game, but nothing groundbreaking at all. But hey, at least it was playable right after the trailer went live. But after that, things got even quieter. Outside of a short trailer showcasing the game's graphics, we pretty much didn't get any information on the game for a long time. But then on May 5th, 2022, FNTASTIC finally gave us some news by saying that the game's release date will be pushed back. Who could have seen that coming? I feel like most people expect this game to be pushed back at least once. I mean, which game nowadays doesn't get pushed back? But what made this even weirder was the reason for it. And it wasn't that they just needed a bit more time to polish up the game, but instead they were porting the whole game from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. Which I mean, you can do, but doing that so late into development just doesn't make sense. Not only would that take a lot of time, but depending on how the studio modified the engine, that maybe just straight up wouldn't work. So needless to say, this seemingly random decision didn't really leave the best impression on a lot of people. But the weird news only continued the following month, with reports coming out about FNTASTIC using volunteers to work for their game. And FNTASTIC responded to those suspiciously fast in an interview with Well Played. They said, "During the history of our company, there have been many people who have approached us and wanted to help in different ways. It doesn't relate to code writing or development itself though, but other important things, such as moderation, localization, or simply rooting for us and cheering us up." That just kind of sounds like you need friends. I mean, if you want to, I can be your friend. You don't have to pay me. It's cool. You can come over to my place. We can get Domino's and play Halo on my Xbox. All of this came from a post on their website where they further explain what being a volunteer at FNTASTIC means. Basically, you have two forms of being a volunteer. You can be a part-time volunteer where you get tasks such as localization, moderation, etc. Still, very important tasks in game development, mind you. Or you could be a full-time volunteer where you work at 9 to 5 and get paid full salary. That's just called being an employee. But next to that wall of text, they also linked one video. And I swear to God, this video is pretty much the main reason I'm making this video right now. I rewatch this thing all the time. It's a full-on guilty pleasure of mine at this point. So you know what? Let's get comfortable. Grab a snack, grab a friend, cause we're gonna watch...
He's crazy. You got anything to say? So, before we get into this, two things. Number one, this is the most wishlisted game on Steam, so I would say it's fair to assume that they will have some production quality behind that trailer. Number two, this video is gonna be very low resolution, because I just couldn't find it anywhere else in a higher resolution. More on that later. Percy left, but you know what? Let's jump right into it. The trailer starts off with some kind of travel vlog with the devs traveling to the office in Singapore. But then they start talking about how they started working remotely using the Continent app? The what now? I wouldn't fault you for not knowing said app, because up until this video, this app didn't exist at all. Just like they did with Prop Night, FNTASTIC used the chance where they had a lot of eyes on them for the day before to plug another project. Kind of shady, don't you think? A company releasing two different products to feed up the hype of their big upcoming release? one of them being a remote work app at a time when many people had to work remotely because of the pandemic? I don't know. Percy, what do you think? He's still over there. You just can't see him. He's behind the camera. But they do actually show people working on the game. One person's working on some character models, another one is playing a demo, some dude is recording some motion capture, and what the fuck is he doing out there? And why is this guy sitting at the airport? It's gonna be one of those videos, huh?
Development is like a marathon. We've been creating the day before for 4 years, day after day. And during this process, life goes on.
Right during the filming of this video, the landlord decided to illegally evict one of our lead artists from the apartment, right on Christmas Eve.
Привет.
Ты что, потерялся, что ли?
Да, прикинь, за 2 дня до Рождества.
Those were 30 seconds. 30 seconds, and we got some random people singing and dancing, one of the devs being evicted from his apartment, and by far the goofiest interpretation of what coding looks like I've seen in a while. Sure, I somewhat get it when coding in a movie looks a bit weird, but you make the game. You should know what that looks like.
Every day with such a fantastic team is like a holiday.
What the fuck? Next time before we start shooting, warn us or something. What the fuck? But I mean, at least they record their own sound effects. That's something. I mean, that explains why the audio design was so good in the trailers, right? Oh, the microphone's not plugged in. Oh. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be a cable in that thing. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Then we get to see some more gameplay. I mean, neat, but nothing we haven't seen before. And then we get...
We feel tremendous support in our social media and Discord. We read all the comments and reviews, even the negative ones.
Sometimes, when I lie to people, they get mad at me for doing so. Beep beep boop boop beep bop boop beep boop beep bop bop beep beep.
In my free time, I also work as a DJ for free on the famous Bangla Road.
I am a volunteer for life, and I like to entertain people.
The day before is my dream project. I will be pleased if people love my sounds in the game.
All this makes us feel alive and enjoy every day on this earth.
I don't even know what to say anymore. You have enough money to make a game on the side and a whole remote work platform, but you don't have enough money to voice over your image film? Instead, you just use some
free TikTok text-to-speech AI.
You know what? I'm starting to feel that your priorities as a company aren't quite set straight. And that is also just about the reaction everyone had to this video. It obviously looked very unprofessional, showed pretty much no gameplay of the day before, and was again just another opportunity for them to plug one of their side projects. So yeah. Needless to say by this point, but by now, no one expected for them to ship anything when the launch date came around. But this story is far from over, and with the launch date coming sooner and sooner, it's time we take a look at the...
So yeah, stuff gets real funky now. Just like you would expect, we didn't hear anything from them in months. Until one day, the game just randomly disappeared off of Steam. FNTASTIC responded pretty quickly to this situation, claiming it's a bug on Steam's end before they gave us an honest response a couple of days later. Apparently, they don't even hold the trademark to the name the day before. In reality, the trademark belongs to a small Korean calendar app, and they failed to take down off the game's Steam page. Okay, kinda weird, but I mean, they're a small studio. Maybe they just forgot to copyright the name and then that calendar app swooped in, stole the name and tried to make some money off of it. But that calendar app held the trademark to that game for 10 years. How can you start working on a game this big without even checking if the name is legally usable? And wouldn't you know, they also hit us with a FNTASTIC special. That being postponing the game another time. And on top of that, they also said that they were planning on totally showing us some unedited gameplay later this month, but wouldn't you know, we can't really work on the game right now. We don't have the name, we can't do nothing. We can't show you anything. It doesn't work. Well, Twitter did their thing and bullied them into dropping the gameplay video a couple of days later, and let me tell ya, this shit looks boring. Just take a look at this. Now imagine this energy, but 10 minutes of it. I mean, you gotta give them props. This is much more accurate to how the game ended up looking, but man, does this suck. Gone were the exciting PvP fights and cool set pieces, and also the game just looked a ton worse. Like when you put the two side by side, it's a night and day difference. Oh, and that cool intro the trailer had? What would you say if I told you that it was copied shot for shot from a Call of Duty trailer? Crazy, right? I mean, they would never copy from any other big game. That would be crazy. After that, we got another showcase trailer, which copied someone's homework again, and then we got another trailer showcasing more driving gameplay. That's cool. The driving always looked pretty good in the last trailer, so that should be pretty interesting.
Get ready for November 10th.
I don't think I don't feel ready for it. We got one more post of FNTASTIC before the game came out, where they announced 3 things. Number 1, another delay. Honestly, not even surprised anymore. Number 2, no console version. Okay. And number 3, the game will launch in early access? What? How can you announce a game, give us a release date, move it back by over a year, and then still not have it finished? By now it's getting pretty obvious that we wouldn't be getting the game that was promised to us in the trailers. Matter of fact, those very trailers were taken down by FNTASTIC the day before, nice, was meant to be released. Someone was very clearly trying to hide all evidence that this game was ever promised to be more than what we eventually got, and it was painfully obvious. And on the same day we also got a long post by FNTASTIC on Twitter, pretty much saying that they tried their hardest and they really hope people will like the game. I especially like this part here. Please don't accuse us of scamming. That's not true. We didn't take a penny from anyone. Great start when you feel the need to mention that in your pre-release notes. Please don't accuse us of asset flip. That's not true also. Our team worked day and night for over 5 years to make our dream game a reality. Again, just not the best look in that post. Please don't underestimate our work. It wasn't easy. We're like you. We worked hard. FNTASTIC, how dare you assume I work hard? As Christmas and the New Year are approaching, we wish joy and happiness to your family. We love everyone. FNTASTIC. Everyone? That's a lot of people. That's like more than 12. But once you know, the following day the game actually came out and... well...
Try to get off the bed.
This shit sucked ass. Okay, where do we start first? First of all, the whole thing was an absolute nightmare on a technical level. Obviously, graphic-wise, it didn't really look good at all. We already kinda knew that, but on top of that, the servers were horrible and the whole thing was a buggy mess. But way more important than that was that the game wasn't even the same genre anymore. Whatsoever. Instead of getting the open world MMO we were promised, we got a pretty cheap and shitty looking extraction shooter. Think something along the lines of Tarkov, where you go into a world, collect loot for missions, fight some people along the way and bring stuff back to your base to sell. With the difference being that loading into a raid in Tarkov is exciting and exhilarating, and doing the same in the day before just makes me want to weep. There honestly isn't even really all too much to say about this game. It really just is plain bad. The world is unimaginative, it had absolutely no story to follow, the cars and housing felt incredibly short of what we saw in the trailers, and instead of the 30 or so zombies we saw standing in one room in the first trailer, you're lucky if you even see one of them before you get shot by another player. But the worst thing at the end of the day is that this game is just plain boring. Like, there's a certain type of bad that can be enjoyable, funny even, but this just really wasn't it. This was just bad, no fun whatsoever. Which is why it did not at all come as a surprise when out of the 201,000 copies sold, 91,000 were already returned within the first day or so. And wouldn't you know, apparently those 91,000 copies were enough to break the camel's back. Because just 4 days after the game came out, FNTASTIC posted this on their Twitter. Today we announced the closure of FNTASTIC Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we like the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debt to our partners. What? This has to be some kind of record. I don't think there's ever been a studio that shut its doors so quick after dropping their new game. And a lot of people thought the same and went to voice their thoughts on Twitter, which FNTASTIC reacted very reasonably to. This was our first big experience. Shit happens. Shit happens, yeah. Yeah, by now I feel it's safe to say that this whole thing was just a big rug ball. Spend a lot of time marketing a game, then sell to people as an early access product that you will totally finish at some point. Wait for them to spend enough time in the game so they can't refund it anymore, and then when you have all the money, just take it and leave. Or at least I assume that was their plan, because surprisingly Valve stepped in together with Mytona, the publisher of the game, and not only allowed refunds past the refund window on this game, but also just straight up forced refunds onto players. That is something they have never done. Like ever, not even for the worst launches. And I mean, that pretty much is the best possible outcome you could have hoped for. Steam got a lot of people's money back, Mytona managed to regain some trust and respect as a publisher, and FNTASTIC, and these two idiots in particular, didn't see a single cent of the revenue. So yeah, story over. Happy end. But there's one question still unanswered. Why? Why did the brothers do all this to begin with? Like, there has to be some financial reason to go through all this mess. Sure, maybe they were banking on people seeing the flashy trailers and then buying the game and not caring to refund it down the line, but I have a pretty hard time believing that. So the question still stands. Where's the...
You know, I've been on these streets for years by now. This city is cold and heartless. Some might even call it a lost cause, but even a place like this needs someone to keep it in check every once in a while. And god damn it, if no one else does it, I'll have to do it myself. My name is Jonathan Norway. I'm a private investigator and attorney at law. So a pretty fucking big deal, bro. And while I've investigated some absolute scum in my days, let me tell you, never have I ever seen something as fucked up as this. Let's see. We have a company owned by two crazed brothers, and a publisher who seemingly blindly publishes the game without even taking a look at it first. Finding the culprit in this one is gonna be a tough one. It really isn't gonna be, I'm just trying to sound more dramatic. Where did the money come from? Did anyone actually gain money from all of this? Why did they do it to begin with? Does the light stay on when I close the fridge? So many questions, but so few answers. Let's start with the first question. There's no telling how much money went into this project as a whole during all of its runtime, but we can make some educated guesses. Number one, they did have investors. This we know for a fact, because in the blog post when they shut down, they said they used all remaining funds to pay back any investors. Now how much money is that? I don't know. Number two, state grants. While FNTASTIC is based in Russia, they incorporated themselves in Singapore to, like, sidestep all the sanctions and such. And while I don't know if they got any state grants to begin with, that alone could have paid for up to 70% of the game's development. It's a lot. That's a lot of money. Sadly, even after talking to some of my contacts, I still don't know if they got any of the state money. But knowing them, I feel it's safe to say that they at least tried. Those cheap bastards. Number three, the publisher. My Toner was the publisher for the day before, and one of your jobs as a publisher is to financially support the game's development. And they 100% did that, don't get me wrong. But those are their games. I don't think they have money. Or like, not a lot at least. Well, I guess now we know where the money came from, but we still don't know how much it was. There must have been some financial motive behind this whole situation. But wouldn't you know, a contact handed me these. Financial reports for FNTASTIC in 2022. As a company legally incorporated in Singapore, you do have to issue these yearly. But good for us, because all of this does shed a lot more light on the situation as a whole. First of all, $3.4 million of total revenue is insane. I mean, that's far from GTA money, but for a small studio like FNTASTIC, that's crazy. But take a look at these 2 points. Number one, a yearly director salary of $200,000. It's already a lot of money, but it's okay. Number two, yearly travel expenses of $308,000? What the fuck are you doing? How do you even spend that much money on traveling to begin with? Like, that's $26,000 a month. But remember, that was only for one of the at least 3 years this game was in development for. So you gotta take the $500,000 at least by 3. And then maybe some more years and some more money, investor money. That's all. The point I'm getting to is it's a fuck ton of money. They made a fuck ton of money. So going by my calculations, they took off with at least $1 million and a game that they never had any intent on actually finishing. And I mean, that is definitely possible, but I mean, you do have to remember there were actually people working on the game. Like, genuinely smart and talented people from all across the world that try to make this game the best it could be. Why would you even go through all the effort of building a team like that if you only plan on pushing out another trash asset flip game? And the answer is pretty straightforward. I think they were trying to make a good game. The brothers are just fucking incompetent when it comes to directing a studio. Reports from the company said the brothers had only very basic knowledge of game development and would straight up fire developers if they didn't do quote-unquote good enough. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, they would also change the base concept of the game every couple of weeks. Like when one of the brothers played Spider-Man 2 on his PlayStation 5, and they would go and ask the team to remake the map from the day before to make it a bit more inviting and colorful like it is in Spider-Man 2. That was 2 months before the day before was supposed to come out, and the list of horrible director choices just keeps going and going. But at the end of the day, you can't really blame any of the developers. Instead, it's all the brothers' fault. Who very conveniently right after launch seemingly dropped off the face of the earth, by the way. post were deleted, accounts were set to private, and at the end of the day, no one was held accountable for all this mess. You hate to see it, but I feel like they might have just gotten away with their whole ploy. Well, I guess at the end of the day, you can't win every case.
So yeah, for the most part, that is pretty much how the story went down. A lot of investors probably lost a ton of money on the game, slim to no promises were kept, but hey, at least no players were scammed. But what now? What else happened after the game came out? For one, the game servers shut down not even 2 months after the launch of the game, leaving anyone who bought a key for way too much money shit out of luck. Then after the game got shut down, they lashed out one last time in a big blog post on their website, where they threw around a bunch of wild claims. They never lied to anyone, they still have a great relationship with the publisher, they always treated all developers with respect, yada yada yada. I think you get the general gist of it. At this point, people honestly just straight up didn't care about this whole project anymore, so this statement didn't win anyone over. I hate to break it to you, but passive-aggressive blog posting 2 months after launch is a bit too little, a bit too late. They did, however, encourage people to subscribe to their socials to see what comes next, because, yeah, apparently this is not gonna be the last go of the games industry. What will the next game be? I have no clue. And also, I honestly just don't give a fuck. And neither should you. Just remember that if you see a game with these faces or this logo attached to it, fucking run. But that sounds like the story of the day before quite well. But thanks to all of you for sticking around and taking a deeper look into all of this mess with me. But now I need a break. And maybe help. So for now, y'all have a good one.
It's the season of gaming.